Hello and welcome to the Professor Vector channel. I'm Ed March and today we're going to look at ViaCAD. It doesn't get a fair shake, but I think it should. So I don't like that they put your serial number right here and I have to black that out when I'm doing these recordings. I don't think that's a good idea. But there's a lot of things I like about ViaCAD. It's very simple, it's easy to use, and today I'm going to look at some of the shortcut keys that I assigned to all the things that I could assign keys to and that I use quite often. There's a few things I cannot assign keys to, so I got some gripes here. I hope it's constructive criticism that'll help the ViaCAD team make the software better in the next few versions. All right, so one of the things is drawing a circle. I either made letters that sounded like the function you're doing or were the first letter of what you're doing, like C for circle. Object type is a O, capital G for group. Ungroup is a capital J, since that's capital G and J kind of, are similar letters. Exporting is 11 and 12. I also use that in exporting is 11 and F11, F12. I use that in Blender also, and the gripper is J that you can turn on and off, and U for uniform. And layers I hardly ever use, but those are on the bracket brace keys. I think that was like that. Construction lines I use a lot, so K and Shift K. Usually the capitals are the ones that aren't as common, but in this case you got line and multi-line. Multi-line is probably more common than line. And vertical constraints, and toggle the mesh subdivision, T's, and then set 3 points. Not sure why some of these may have been that way, but I think I assigned that one. And comma along the curve, an XYZ point is a period. That kind of makes sense. You can't tell. Here's what they should change. They should make some periods here and then leave a space. So it looks like there's nothing assigned to this, but if you look closely, there's a period. So because they use the periods as a spacing, I wish the software engineers would clean up this a little bit. Also, I wish they would be able to import and export this so you can share this with friends. Maybe they think ViaCAD users don't have any friends. I don't know. But F2 and 3 and 4 I use all the time. And 3 for hide, F5 for show all. Anchor point plus add a solid blend, or it's really more like a chamfer and a bending. Solid intersections, it makes sense that you're equal. Boolean subtract, minus sign. This looks like a cube to me. I figured what key would be best for a block, and I didn't want to use B's, and so that looks like a block. That looks like a cone. That looks like a cylinder. And these other ones I probably don't use as much. Slab, sphere, looks like that. Tortoise, because there's two circles and the percent sign, I chose that. E extrude, use all the time. I wish they would have the single view and mirror, use sometimes, and F1 toggling back and forth, use all the time. So let's go here. So first of all, you got this F1, you got 2D mode and 3D mode. So many times you can just go in here in a multi-line, even though, right, we could have used C for circle, and then we could hit M or capital L for line, and we're in our multi-line mode, we're in our single line mode, lowercase l, capital L, right? Very handy to draw things. One of the problems is getting these endpoints hit the right click. It's kind of funky how it disconnects stuff, But hit K for construction lines. I like the way it lines up to things really easy. A lot of other CAD programs that are much more expensive don't do that. So, this makes it nice to connect construction lines to different points. And then when you need this point, you can just hit L and it'll snap to that intersection. And you can go click on a midpoint. I wish there would be more than midpoints. I wish you would keep subdividing and do quarter and eighth and keep on going. So it's very easy to snap to ends. So that's nice. And then you can hit F1, go to 3D mode, hit F1 again. I wish you could disable this prompt because I think you kind of know. I changed my background colors. I have changed my background colors in here in preferences. Where are we? Preferences is here. Confuse this with Blender. Colors, display, and so it changes the mode that you're currently in, I believe. So let's go to 3D mode and hit File, Preferences. I wish this was a hotkey like the Alt comma like a Mac would do. Let's see. No, that doesn't help change the colors. Oh well. Okay, so you can hit capital E to extrude, but nothing happens because you're in the wrong mode. So you hit F1, go back. Because we got open gaps in here because we have these. So we can hit F2 for the arrows, F2 and F3. You select between these, the regular selection and the deep selection just about all the time. So hit D, delete, and delete those lines. Go back here. I wish this was a parametric editor, which means that you can change things way after you've done it. So we'll make this 2 inches. I don't like the space bar and left click to pan. I think that's horrible. I wish, since the middle roller wheel is a zoom, I think that this should pan. I think zoom and pan go together. So I would like to see the middle roller just pan like that on the middle roller, but I'm using spacebar and left click to pan. I wish everybody does the same thing, right? Everybody zooms, they all agree on that pretty much, but they can't agree which way is which. I think when you pull it towards you, you're zooming out, and when you move it closer, it's like a telephoto lens going. So this is rolling forward, this is rolling back, but you can reverse that. So that's a nice feature. The gripper. So, okay. So when I go and look at the gripper, do I have this enabled? Yes. I wish that could be enabled a little quicker. I wish these were check marks. I think Blender does the right thing. If I want to move, so if I hit U, they're all uniform, and it doesn't matter which one I pull on here, because if I go to here, this is where it's a little funky. So it scales X, Y, and Z because they're all yellow. If I hit U, now it only scales on the red, on X. So what if I wanted to do both of them, right? Why can't I check this, and or at least control and do those two separate than this? I don't like that this is hard to see. Sometimes you got to get back in there a little bit to get on that. I also don't like that the scale is always relative. So when I click on this again, and I do that, why can't I just change the size? I want it 6 inches or 3 inches, but no. I have to hit F4, use my ruler, and say, okay, what is this? So it's 1.23, and I want it 1.5. Okay, why can't, so I want it, it's 2385. So what you can do, some people don't know this, and now look, the ruler, so we hit F4 to get rid of the ruler, F1, 2, and 3. See the arrow? Do you see that little bug there? It's a display problem. Things don't exactly update. All right, so I can click on this. I can go here. Now I can type in 1.5 divided by 1.2385, and is hit F4, but then we didn't start with, so it's 1.7 because we were smaller. So yeah, I wish these things were not always relative. And then of course, when you do this again, here, let's hit F2, 3. Got to redraw those arrows. It's a little funky. But I do like that you can do math in every expression, right? So that's a nice feature. Like if sometimes you want to rotate this and you want to rotate it 45 degrees, and you can just click on that to get the angle popped up and type in 45. Now you want to go back, you can, well, you could hit undo, but you can go here and you can type in 45. You could hit this again. You can type in -45 to go back where you were. You know, maybe you wanted like 360 degrees divided by 7. You want 7 equal angles for that because you're building some around. So you can easily do that. So the math inside the expressions is great, and there's no tab or space or equals or, you know, some other programs you have to like give it a clue. Just type it in, right? Whether it's 1.2 or 1.2 divided by 7, it's pretty easy to figure that out for the programmers to figure out if they should be doing an expression on it or not. What else do we have in keystrokes? All right, so we briefly went over the C, the O. You can go here and hit Shift O and change it, you know, to a solid and a mesh. So that's not used too often, but it's handy. G and J to group and ungroup. Let's see. So we can take this. It's very easy to move within, but I mean, I wished it was numeric. I wished it was fields of numeric X, Y, Z, scale, rotation, a lot like Blender does. Just keep that up all the time. I mean, this is a CAD program. It's not a art program. It's something you just want to see. So if I want to group this and group that, I can hit capital G, and now these two are grouped. So if I click on that, all the pieces move. If I want to ungroup these I can hit capital J, they're ungrouped, click on this, and they ungroup very nicely. So that's that. We export and import. I don't import too much, but I export a lot. So I'm usually exporting to an STL file, and I'm doing binary. And for 3D printing, that's why I'm looking at this. That's very, very handy to have. So I think that's a good feature. I think I can get rid of me as I talk about the rest of the program here. The gripper on and off is J. So it's off now. I hit J, it's on. I mean, sometimes this stuff does get in the way when you're looking at really small things and you go, I don't want to see this stuff in my face. And the same thing, which is why, so the gripper, the U we covered, don't use layers. Construction lines are very handy, multi-line. Vertical constraints, and period. So period is a nice one. You can set a point there, set a point there, and you can set nice points, and it's nice to snap to those when you hit lines later on. Sometimes you just want to find certain places, and I like that it highlights the words, says vertex when you're there, says midpoint. That's nice features, guys. It makes it easy to we can highlight this, extrude it. So makes it easy to build points exactly on the XY coordinates that you want. Because when you hit that period, you know, there you are, you're getting these XY coordinates. And we'll move that 6, which moved over to here. So yeah, very nice features. Let's see. Construction lines are very handy. Sometimes you're building something and you just go, well, I need a construction line here. It's V, Shift V. I can keep those parallel to each other. So this is a nice deal. I like that it gives you the angles. So it's handy to have construction lines. They're just for visual purposes only. And it allows you to make things, well, let's see. Let's hit escape. Let's hit the pound sign, and we're going to make a cube. And it'll snap right in there. So, you know, that's a use for construction lines where you can kind of do the geometry visually and figure out what you want to do. And maybe you're making a clock and you can set the angles and how they work. And then you can, you know, put plates with numbers on or figure out where the center is and stuff like that. So that's the K's, the L's we covered, vertical constraint. Don't do the T too much at all. No, let's see. Let's click on one of these. Not even sure what the T is actually doing here. Yeah, obviously don't use that. 3 points. I don't know what the 3 points does. The single point is the period. F2, 3, 4, do that all the time. 3 for hide. The 3 is hide. F5 is show it all again. And then snap to anchor point, don't use that, add a solid. The bending, this, I hit B, capital B, and a little bit much. So yeah, I use that quite often. I do the subtraction with the booleans. We can make a cylinder. Let's make it a 0.6. And F2, J. This is very handy to slide these things around like this. And then click on this object, hit the minus key, and click on that. I'm not sure why that didn't work. There is some bugs with the subtracting. So you click on your first object, all right, that you want to subtract from. Then you click on that. Okay. I did them in the wrong order. You hit the minus key first. That's what it was. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'm confused if it's pre-command, post-command, mid-command. Do you hit the command first and then select the two objects, or you hit one of them and then select the, is it like, 1 plus 2, or is it hit plus and then you hit 1 and 2 and then you get your results, stuff like that. So yeah, the subtraction is quite good. Now, once you subtracted that, if you wanted to make that cylinder bigger or smaller, it's kind of like too late. You can undo it. You can go here and you can make the cylinder bigger that way. Let's hit the ugly space bar and zoom in on this. So then you hit minus from he's being subtracted with this is what's being subtracted out. The cutter is the last one you click on. And so that works well. The plus is really the same thing, only it's almost like a union, but it's not because you can't undo them. It actually, welds the geometry together. So here, let's take all this, get rid of the junk, and we'll do some, take that. Then we'll add a cube, £, and we'll take this cube. See, it's an illusion that they're touching, isn't it? Okay, if you want those two, you can hit the plus sign, add the solid, and they should be added. And much like the grouping, only this is a little more permanent than the grouping. And intersection, we can undo these two. hit the equal sign and figure out where that and that. Did we ungroup them? Okay, now they're ungrouped. Hit the equal sign for that, and that's the intersection. Whoops. Hit D or A, and hit F to, I wish it was home or something where you can just, a lot of times when you do get lost in 3D space, it's not that easy to find the stuff. Anyway, so let's make a new drawing here and go with something else. So subtracting, make a block, make a cone. Let's do a Shift 6. There we come up with a cone, and I like that it gives you the menu, so you got different choices on if you want to pick 1 point in the center, or 2 points, or 3 points. I always forget like which axis it starts on because I use so many different CAD programs. I'm like, where is it on this axis, that axis? Is it on the 3D cursor? There is no 3D cursor. That's Blender. A cylinder. Epsiloid, let's try that. It's an asterisk, kind of like an egg shape. Yeah, the movements are really nice. The you know, picking the point and kind of clicking towards things without having a grid kind of makes, the grid's not as useful as the real point of where the geometry is. So, there's a lot to be said for that. That's just really, really nice. I wish every CAD program did these. Every CAD program has something you really love about it, and then something that you go, what were these people thinking? So this is no exception. Let's see what else. The prism. The ampersand. This is nice. I wish, why don't they all do this? It's like, did you guys talk to each other? The egg thing didn't do that. The circles, the pyramids don't do that. But, look at that. Isn't that nice? Give me a 2D outline and then drop into 3D mode on where I want to put it. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's the neat thing here is there's not a lot of keystrokes, but it's pretty powerful for what you do have. You can do the slab. The underscore is just a, wait, why don't we do that? So that's kind of a funky command on drawing a slab, but don't use that. The sphere, of course, is used quite often with a center point, and why can't I drag the size? Wait, the other ones allow me to drag the size, but this one doesn't. So, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go here, and now I can type in the size, but quite different than this that lets me drag the size. There's a lot of little idiosyncrasies. Extrude, lathe, sweep. I'm not going to cover those, but hidden and dimmed. Don't use that too often either. Not even sure what it's doing here. But yeah, my main complaint is that, these come up. Sometimes they're absolutes, heights and widths. And then other times they're like, oh, let's move it a relative distance. And then when we move it again, right? We can put that there. Wait a minute. This is what we want. And put that up there. It went to 13, but now we click on it and move it again, and it starts from 0. Why can't I see my absolute X and Y and Z positions in 3D space all the time? Trimming is very handy. Repair curves is handy. S and F. That's the keys I was looking for before. But here is the one that's very disappointing, this view. And you want to do a 4 on the left and thirds. Oops, I want to do 4 on the right. That's what I always do. Sorry. 4 on the right. You do this quite often because this gives you, you know, the big picture from 3 different perspectives. When you think these two are touching, they look like they're touching over here. They look like they're touching. But as you can see, they're really not. And you can go in here and zoom in and zoom out. So you can take this and not only can you move it this way, but you can grab it with this. And that looks like it's touching, but it's not touching over here because of this. So I don't like that this has to turn into a cube to move. Why can't you maintain the shape of the object when it's moving? But I could live with that at low priority. But this should be on a hotkey. Come on, use this all the time. In fact, every menu item I wish was on a hotkey. I go from here, right, back to that. Why can't you allow me to assign a shortcut key to that? You know, just not too happy about that. That's where Rhinoceros 3D has a nice, you know, you hit Q, you get a quad display, a single display. I don't use the magnet, I use the F1, and I hardly use the mirror. So again, the F1 puts you back in 2D mode. F1 puts you back in 3D mode. F4 allows you to measure things. In fact, I think this measurement is superior, better than anything Blender has. Blender just makes them stick around, and I don't like. So you want to go to the midpoint, and you know, you get your distance up there. You click, you know, it doesn't clutter up your display with too many of those if you really gotta need them. It would be nice to be able to maybe copy these, like copy the distance. I gotta remember, you know, 5-6 digits in my head. I wish I could just remember 9.3205. I wish I could copy that to the clipboard because, you know, then I might be able to want to go in here and move this and type in that, you know, 9.2305 for whatever reason. So it'd be nice to move the numbers around. That's a no-brainer, I think, you know. I think if you're moving or measuring, I should say, this to that, I mean, as I'm here, why can't there be a Control C? Does that copy anything? I don't think so. Let's see, does it? We'll test it out. Paste. No, it's pasting pound signs. Not sure why it's pasting pound signs. But I don't use the magnet. I do use the snaps, and I do use the sometimes this gets in the way of things when you're looking at stuff. It's like, get this little, you know, three-dimensional axis out of here so I can hit the tick character underneath the tilde key. And I can hit the snaps. I don't use the grid too often. Where is the grid? So it goes to show you, yeah. This is kind of weird. I don't know what purpose that really has. The other interesting thing is that you can take something and you can export into a text file. Okay? So when you output the text, you get that, which is kind of strange. I'm not sure what good it is. Okay, so I think that kind of wraps up the ViaCAD software. Always ask for a discount. This was $199. I got the 20% off, so paid $159. You know, with the 20% discount. You know, people are hard pressed to sell software, especially these little guys. Always worth asking for. Hope you like and subscribe. I gotta get up to 500 subscribers, and got a ways to go. But thank you for everyone that is subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.